All right, I wanted to share some takeaways from the recent Rolls-Royce turnaround, the transformation that's happened, spearheaded by Tufan Erginbilgic. And pardon me if I'm paraphrasing that, but this gentleman and this team have accomplished amazing results. I would assume you've at least heard of it, but if you haven't, I wanted to share some takeaways from this transformation, which is remarkable. In a 2-year span, between 23 and 25, here's what they accomplished. They increased operating profit by 25% to 2.5 billion. They grew free cash flow by 1.9 billion. And I did want to say Rolls-Royce wasn't in a bad place at the time. Financially, they were losing market share, and their balance sheet was not in a good place. So just put that as a starting premise. But also, he strengthened the balance sheet by increasing net cash position by at 475 million euros. Then, in terms of efficiency, him and his team decreased or improved or created savings by 350 million, which is what you're seeing here. And then he also, for shareholder value, he reinstated dividends and then started a share buyback recently after. And then lastly, when it comes to results, they reached their midterm targets 2 years ahead of time. So, I mean, that tells you the level of execution. And so I thought it was a very fascinating story and thought I would share some takeaways that would be relevant to us in manufacturing. So let me start with some of the takeaways. So this gentleman was had a lot of wisdom when it came to going into the situation. He talks about doing benchmarking even before he got hired, before he got offered the job. And so he did a lot of benchmarking, comparing with other peer companies in the same space, similar size. So he knew some of the areas for improvement. Once he was in there, then he very quickly decided to create some self-awareness, knowing what's the state of the business, where are we strong, where are we weak. And so he created very deep self-awareness. He speaks about that. Third takeaway would be strategy. And so he wanted to create a strategy, a vision for transformation. And so he talks about you have a company that have A capabilities, and you want to create B capabilities. And he talks about between balance sheet capabilities, meaning your core competencies, and the culture of the organization. So he wanted to very quickly establish a vision for that. And one of the things he says that he did to start galvanizing the team was creating some paradigm shifts. So he very quickly challenged some of the assumptions, some of the things that people felt they weren't able to be done. He talks about an example of renegotiating a contract. And so that was one way that he showed his team, yes, we can do things differently. And so creating paradigm shifts. One of the other things he talks about very early is that he created a leadership team and the infrastructure for that team to deliver these results. And so he talks about just being the builder and then the team being the doer that actually got the results, but just very wise in his vision. And then the last takeaway here is having a growth mindset. When he talks about a growth mindset, he says, we want to grow the business, but not only in sales. We also have to focus on profit and cash so that you wouldn't just have what I call hollow growth, where you're just growing the top line, but the bottom line is just shrinking as it builds. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration. But I thought this gentleman, there's an interview of him in the Wall Street Journal. You can also find some of it in YouTube. Very fascinating story. Thought I'd share some takeaways and some nuggets for us in manufacturing. If you want to give me some feedback, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But other than that, thanks for watching. Take care.
To receive more tips on how to drive profitable growth in your manufacturing business, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on LinkedIn. If you have questions or want to learn more about us, visit us at alphanovaconsulting.com. I'm Dan Burgos, and thanks for watching.